Wheel of Fortune host Pat Sajak has watched contestants go through a series of painful-looking fails during a tricky puzzle. A Wheel of Fortune fan uploaded a wild clip onto Twitter. In the nearly 2-minute clip, the three players struggled to answer the puzzle, "What are you doing?" The correct answer was, renting a pedal boat. With most of the letters on the board, a contestant picked the wrong letter, W. Another contestant spun the giant wheel even though she was told she didn't have to. Co-host Vanna White, 67, stood on the stage and clapped as the trio struggled. Two players incorrectly responded, renting a paddle boat. Finally, contestant Sean answered correctly. "There you go. It's a pedal." Pat, 77, cheered. Fans jumped to the comments section and poked fun at the game show host. "I have so many more of these saved." And while what the contestants say is amusing, more often than not, it's what or how Pat reacts or responds that makes it a truly hilarious moment. One fan jested, "What are you doing?" is a perfect category for this one. "Oh my God. Poor Pat," a second fan mocked. "What are you doing?" is a perfect category for this one. "Oh my God. Poor Pat," a second fan mocked. "I know Pat was losing his mind," a third fan said. "Holy cow. Painful," a fourth person wrote. "The show will live on, but for me, it will never be the same without Pat," a commentator chimed. The throwback scene came after the game show host bid farewell to the masses. On Friday, the 77-year-old host told the contestants he was cutting around because he had something to say. "Well, the time has come to say goodbye," he told the camera. "I have a few thanks and acknowledgements before I go, and I want to start with all watching out there. It's been an incredible privilege to be invited into millions of homes night after night, year after year, decade after decade," Pat continued. "And I've always felt that privilege came with the responsibility to keep this daily half-hour a safe place for family fun." Pat praised his wife, Leslie, and mentioned that the best part of the last couple of years was working with his daughter, Maggie Sajak, 29, who is the show's social media correspondent. Vanna swept in for one last hug as the audience applauded. American Idol host Ryan Seacrest, 29, is expected to take over for Pat and start hosting Wheel of Fortune in September 2024. The studio lights beamed down on the iconic Wheel of Fortune set, a place where contestants' dreams could soar or shatter in an instant. Tonight was no different as the episode kicked off with an air of excitement, the audience cheering with anticipation. Pat Sajak, the beloved host, stood at the helm, his smile infectious as he introduced the contestants: Jennifer, a bubbly teacher from California, Mark, a retired firefighter from Texas, and Leah, an aspiring chef from New York. Each contestant had their own story, but little did they know that this evening would become memorable for entirely different reasons. As the first round began, the contestants spun the wheel with fervor, hoping for a big win. The puzzle board revealed the category, food and drink. The letters flickered into view, the first few filling in slowly but surely. Underscore underscore T underscore 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 underscore. Leah, who had spun the wheel and landed on a high-value space, grinned broadly. "I'll take a T, Pat," she exclaimed, her confidence evident. The audience cheered as she correctly guessed a T, revealing the letters on the board. A few more spins later, Mark, still riding high from his previous spin, leaned into the puzzle, scratching his chin thoughtfully. "I'd like to buy a vowel. An E, please." "Let's see if that's in there," Pat replied, turning to the board. The audience leaned forward, breaths held in anticipation. "Yes. One E." The board transformed into a tantalizing image of half-revealed letters. Underscore underscore TT underscore E underscore underscore. Suddenly, Jennifer seemed to have an epiphany. "I think I know it," she exclaimed, confidence radiating from her. "Can I spin again?" Pat smiled. "Sure, go ahead." Jennifer spun the wheel, but luck wasn't on her side this time. She landed on bankrupt, and the audience collectively groaned. "Ouch." Pat winced, unable to hide his disappointment for her. The game continued, and the puzzle remained tantalizingly out of reach. Mark and Leah exchanged glances, each wanting to solve the puzzle but cautious not to leap too soon. Tension filled the air as they spun and guessed vowels, which turned out to be fewer than they hoped for. After several agonizing minutes of incorrect guesses, the board stood at __TT_E__. Leah leaned in again. I'll try another vowel. An I, please. Pat, ever the professional, revealed that there were no I's, and once again, the audience let out a chorus of oaths. Mark couldn't help but chuckle. This is getting painful, he said, shaking his head in disbelief. Yeah, it's really testing my patience, Leah replied, rolling her eyes playfully. By now, Pat was visibly trying to maintain his composure. The tension in the studio grew palpable, and the audience began to voice their thoughts through laughter and playful jeers. Comments rang out, is Pat Sajak losing his mind, and can someone get him a drink? With every failed guess, the contestants seemed to spiral further into a fog of confusion. Jennifer had regained her turn and took a deep breath. I'd like to solve the puzzle, Pat. All right, go ahead. Pat encouraged, looking hopeful. I think it's butterfly. The board stood still, the letters frozen in mockery of her confident guess. Sorry, that's incorrect, Pat replied, a hint of disbelief creeping into his voice. The audience erupted in laughter, some pointing at Pat as if he were the mastermind behind the chaos. What's going on here? One fan quipped from the audience. I thought they were supposed to be experts at guessing. Maybe Pat's been spinning the wheel too much behind the scenes, another shouted, leading to a fresh wave of laughter. Finally, Mark, with his brows furrowed in concentration, shouted, I want to solve it. Is it potato salad? The audience gasped collectively. The letters transformed on the board, revealing the answer in full. POTTEDPEPPER. The studio erupted into laughter, and even Pat couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity. Wow, Mark, that was a valiant effort, he said, shaking his head with disbelief. Looks like we all need a little practice on our food categories. Leah laughed, clearly feeling the tension ease. As the round drew to a close, the laughter continued. Fans online were quick to make light of the situation, taking to social media with memes and jokes about Pat's reaction. Pat's expression was pure gold, one fan tweeted, sharing a gif of Pat shaking his head. Is he going to have to add puzzle-solving therapy to his resume? Another joked. The laughter became a shared experience, uniting the audience and viewers at home. Comments flew in.